Hello and welcome! Cheltenham Festival has arrived. I am flatcapcallum. These are my selections for day one for 2024. I am hoping you are all very, very well. We're arrived. It's like the big build up, and now we're here. And now we're waiting with bated breath to whether to see I've got some heroes in the staking plan or the whole thing's junk. Who knows? I won't know until the end of the day, will I? But here is my staking plan for the first day of Cheltenham Festival 2024. Let me talk you through what the plan is. I'll do a little bit of preamble for any new folk and kind of reminders for older folk, and then we'll go through the staking. So, what do I need to tell you? So if you're new to me and new to this channel, then I guess the first thing to say is my angle in the market is value. I'm trying to find value. I'm trying to find horses that are overpriced. So I'm not here to tell you that Lossiemouth and State Man are going to be the ones that I'm going to put £100 on. I'm not here for that. I'm here for the big prices in the Ultima and that kind of stuff. So what I've put together for day one is a £40 staking plan. So in kind of normal maths for my regular channel, that is a double stake day. So for this week, sort of usual rules are slightly suspended because it might be that I even go to 50 on some days. So 40 is what we're starting off on day one. So a traditional double stake day. And the staking plan I've got is spread over 15 individual single bets, 3 win bets, 12 each way single bets, and 5 different types of combination bets. So there is a win Trixie, an each way Trixie, an each way Yankee, each way combination double, and an each way 6-fold Acca. That is the plan. So whatever you choose to do is entirely up to you. What I'm saying to you is, in the name of the channel and the stats of the channel, these are the bets I'm putting down. And this is my own money, my actual, it's my in real stakes. I'm using greater money, and I'll be betting more combinations, and there'll be more horses in my own personal betting. So I won't just stick to what I've got here. What I've tried to do is distill down in a manageable enough-ish way what I think is the best I've got for each day, and that's what I'll be going through. So I'll be here each night, the night before the day's racing, to give you what I think is my best effort at trying to make some profit. The aim of the game is it's very hard to win every day, right? So we're trying to get to the end of Cheltenham and be in a profit for Cheltenham. So however much we've staked, that's what we'll do. If it goes terribly on the first 3 days, we will not be double staking millions of pounds extra on the last day. It is what it is. If we've won on the first 3 days, again, we won't be lumping on loads of money. We like to do it nice and methodical and steady on here. So £40 to £50 is probably what it's going to be each day, I think. But I'm not going to do it as a fixed amount. So as far as YouTube goes, this will be my third Cheltenham on YouTube. The first year I did it as a £50 each day. Last year I did it as £40 each day. This year I'm just going to slightly give myself a little bit of wiggle room to vary it. In terms of stats for what I'm doing, everything I'll be recording for Cheltenham Festival will be recorded starting price. I am not trying to get clever with the market at this stage and trying to hook on a night before price. Everything I'll be doing is starting price. If you get better than starting price, then you will do better than the channel statistics if ultimately that is a horse that frames. So for what I'm recording, irrespective of the prices I show you as I talk you through this video, everything I'm going to do is starting price in terms of that. If I'm giving you my best advice, would be put the bets on in the morning, try and find a bookmaker paying best price guaranteed and do it that way. For the channel, I like to be nice and fair and transparent. For Cheltenham, it's far easier. I mean, I could literally pick through and say which ones I'll take the price, which ones I think might drift, which ones might get shorter. It gets far too complicated. So for channel stats, I'm taking starting price. Bit of background, if you are new, I've been on YouTube 2 years, 2 months. We had a great first year. We had an up and down second year, I think it'd be fair to say. And this year it started pretty rubbish. That would be how I would put it. So great year, okay year. And at the moment it started badly. We did have a really bad start to year 2 as well. And then we got ourselves out of it. But yeah, it's not in great shakes at the moment. So we're not bounding into Cheltenham with full of confidence. It has to be said. We're looking for a confidence booster from Cheltenham to see what we can do with channel morale and channel stats. Everything I put out there is what I'm doing. You make your own choices what you do, whether you want to take no advice of what I'm doing. It's entirely up to you, right? So singles, I'll be doing as well as accumulators. So roughly speaking, on the first day, it is 2/3 of my 40 quid is on the singles, 1/3 on the accumulators. If you do your maths, £40 doesn't exactly work in 1/3, 2/3. I'm talking rough. I think it's 13.50 on accumulators and 26.50 on singles. That's how I've done it for day one. Anything you want to put in the comments in terms of you want to express your own view, your own thoughts about what you're selecting, whether you've got a view about anything I'm selecting, put it in the comments. As long as it's respectful, it can stay there. As long as you're respectful to other people, it can stay there. If you go over the other line, then that's fine. You keep your thoughts to yourself, folks. But yeah, you can agree, you can disagree. That's fine. As long as you do it in a respectful way, I'm good. So yeah, put your own thoughts down here, and let's see what we can do as a community, as well as me putting out what I'm doing. Anything else I'm going to say to you? Run down. So people always ask, what your biggest wins, your biggest bets, and that kind of stuff. All I will stick to is what I've done on YouTube, because I think it is irrelevant what I've done before. I could tell you I've won millions before. I could tell you I'm in massive debt before. You wouldn't know, right? It's not real. So all I can tell you is what is real. What is real is on a recorded video that I've made in the last 2 years and 2 months. They're all on YouTube. I've never uploaded a video and deleted it. They all still exist. All the way through, the statistics have been recorded. First year Cheltenham was really, really good. We had a really good Cheltenham. We started off making 50% on the first day. We made a small profit on the second day. We absolutely smashed out Thursday, and then pretty much bombed out, to be fair, on the last day, but we'd already made enough money. So that was first year. Second year for Cheltenham was a bit more of a struggle. First day, just short of break even. Then we lost half second day, lost half third day, and we were just short of break even the last day. So overall, we were down for the second one. If you'd done them all just singles, the singles would have broken even, but it wasn't enough to make it into accumulators. So credentials wise, I had one great year and 1 year where I lost. So I am 1-1 with Cheltenham Festival whilst doing YouTube. This is going to be the decider at the moment. So if we win Cheltenham this week, then we're 2-1 to flat cap versus the bookies. And if the bookies could come and take me down. So we will see at the end of the week whether it's 2-1 flat cap, 2-1 bookies for Cheltenham Festival. And that's that, I think. So I will mention, I'm not going to go through loads of detail, but just to wrap up last week, for those of you who are regular followers, last week on Sunday we did have some bets. The jumps bets weren't good, apart from if you were on the last horse, which was 50-1. It placed for Sky Bet only, so nothing for the channel, but if you're on Sky, you got some nice money back there. And then the Southwell bet, we had 3 placed, so I think it was 17 on 672 back, so we ended up losing £29 last week. So if you're on last week, that's where we got to. As far as this week goes, I'm mainly just going to focus on Cheltenham. If I see anything particularly good on the all-weather in the evening, I may well reference it or shout it out. For today's video, we're just Cheltenham only, and we'll go through there. But what I thought I'd quickly just do is, I did have a little bit of a stat rundown for channel history on Cheltenham Festival. So for the Supreme, last year took 3, struck out. The year before, split the bet between 2 and got a winner up. So Supreme, Arkle, the history of the channel on the Arkle is pretty good. Last year, 1st and 3rd out of the 2 selections, and the year before, 1st and 2nd out of the 2 selections. So the Arkle's got a good history. This year we'll probably get it wrong. The Ultimate, last year, awful. 5 horses, nothing. The year before we had 1st and 4th, so pretty good. Champion Hurdle, didn't do any singles last year. The year before, again, was short price favourite, but I went big and went second and third, at nice prices, so that was all right. Mares Hurdle last year, we had the winner from 3 selections. The previous year, nothing. The Boodles last year, we had the 18-1 winner with a place out of 4 selections. The previous year, nothing. And then the National Hunt Chase, a winner and a place from 3 last year, and the previous year it was second. So what does that tell you? It tells you, based on the history of the channel, the Arkles where I've done well, and the other races it's a bit hit and miss, right? There's not a lot of data to go for. The point is I'm sort of going through that to illustrate a thing around trends, because this is the week where more than anything, apart from maybe Grand National, you hear people going on about trends. If all of the trends were right, then it would be easy to pick the horses that win. What I'm not always trying to do is find the best horse. I'm trying to find the best value horse. I'd rather take a horse at 25-1 each way than 2-1 win. If I thought the horse had a better chance of coming in the first 3 at 25s than that horse at 2-1 is going to win. That's how I do things, folks. So yeah, I'm not always playing for the win. A lot of times I'm playing for the place. And ultimately, my main bet, for those of you been around a long time, you know this, 4 horses in a Yankee, trying to get some decent prices placed. That's what we're trying to do. All right, 11 minutes in. Let's give her the horses, folks, because I'll get the feedback. I know I ramble on. So I'll spin through and I'll try and give you a little bit of blurb as I go through about my kind of thoughts on each of the races. So we will start here. The Supreme is the opening race at 1:30. And you've got the first 2 races are really quite interesting in the sense of often you'll find very short price favourites for these races, and that is not what we've got this year. What you've got is a pretty difficult market if you were just going to read it through, where broadly speaking you've got 3 Mullins horses, a de Bromhead horse and an Elliott horse, so 5 horses on Ireland, top 5 or 6 in each of them. And trying to actually pick out the right ones is quite tricky. So in the Supreme, very, very tricky in it. I keep saying tricky. Tuesday's my less favoured day. I'm really not keen on Tuesday compared to the other days, but we will try our best. If you go between the market says Tully Hill and Mystic Power are the top 2, both Mullins horses, slightly different profiles, because Mystical Power looks like it's sort of on the upgrade and aimed at the race, whereas Tully Hill has run over further and is dropping back down in distance. The way Tully Hill won last time was very, very impressive. Was that a bit of a one-hit wonder or not? If you actually read the form lines of what it beat, it does make it look even more impressive. My read is that Tully Hill versus Mystical Power is Mystical Power at home is the better horse, but on the track I'm wondering whether Tully Hill is the right horse. So we're going to go Tully Hill first selection 150 win, that is. Then Slade Steel, it's run against Ballyburn. It wasn't millions of miles away. Ballyburn was the horse that a lot of people thought was going to be here, and it's gone to the Gallagher's, as it's now called. So I wanted to have a little bit on there, and I was waiting to see actually about this because the de Bromhead yard has not been in brilliant form. And then at the weekend, particularly Sunday, I think the last 3 runners he had all won. So turned to form just at the right time. So I'm just going to have a little interest and split my stake on Slade Steel at £1 win. And then the one I'm going to have a tickle on at a price is Asian Master. I think it works out as Mullins' 4th string. So Mullins has got 6 out of 12. I think you'll get some value in the price because it's got an amateur jockey. So basically the horse was trained by the Costello family. It's owned by the Costello family. And then Mullins has taken over training it. We've still got one of the Costellos riding the horse who's ridden it all the way through. Because it's the Supreme and it's grade 1, can't claim the £7 that he normally would do for being an amateur. That's a bit of a watch out. But I think the horse has got a progressive profile, and it looks to me like they've said to Mullins, can you train this horse on a little bit? We think we've got something here, but we need your mastery on it. And then profile-wise, it's absolutely on the upgrade. I like the fact there's been a couple of races and evidence for a couple of races where the horse has sort of toughed it out. So as much as people will overlook the horse because of the jockey booking, I actually think it's a positive because it will be inflated price. If Paul Townend was riding Asian Master, that's the horse that's going to be about 5-1. he's not riding it, and it looks like fourth string. So therefore, on that basis, you're going to get a slightly overinflated odds on it. And yeah, if you look at it in terms of ratings and stuff, it's not a million miles away from some of the others. And I think the price is much bigger for the actual performances of the horse. So Asia Master 25 to 1, £1 each way. Then we're going to the Arkle, where I've obviously trailed the fact that I've got that right the last couple of years. So let's see what we can do with the Arkle this year. Again, you've got a really tight market at the top. I think the fact that Gaelic Warrior has been put in there is really interesting. Clearly a horse that's got some quirks with it. I've heard a lot of people talk about the fact that with Gaelic Warrior, Cheltenham's a bit of a put off because it hasn't won at Cheltenham, and likes going the other way around. And I'm less worried about that. But it sort of seems to me to be a little bit of a hot and cold horse. Whereas Founder 50 of the ones that are single figures looks all round to be the most solid option. So I'm going to go Founder 50 from a solid point of view, 150 win. I couldn't have ill attempt Tom's at Cheltenham. I just don't. I think that horse excels in February at Leopardstown. Outside of that, I think you get a slightly lesser horse. So yeah, Founder 50 is in there. And then the price I'm going for, which is, I would say, slightly is my horse of the day. And I've slightly edged the stake there. I've gone a whole big £1.25 each way, so £1.25 each way on Matata. I talked about this horse quite a long time ago in my anti-post videos when you could get 33 to 1. And I still think those odds are very, very generous. I think the fact is, if that was an Irish horse, it would be a lot shorter. It's got Cheltenham form, and I think the fact that it hasn't the last two races it's been second. Was it second? I think it's second. Top of my head. Got to try and remember a lot of stuff here, folks. That's going to put some people off because it's not coming off the back of a win. It got beaten by JPR1. Not a lot in it, and I think Matata would look better for that race. I think it will come on. I think they've got the jump in right. And all in all, I think when you go through the ratings, this is what's done in the anti-post video. That horse is competitive. It should be a single figure horse on the form. So yeah, Matata there, 20 to 1, 125 each way. What I should say as well, betting advice, Supreme Novice, there is quite a few bookies paying 4, so have a little shop around for 4, but get a bookie paying 4 from the Supreme if you can. Okay, the Ultima. Okay, this is where I'm at with the Ultima. I think the best form line going into the race is what used to be called the Hennessy at Newbury, where I think it's the Coral Trophy, Labrador Trophy, somebody's trophy now. The big 3 mile plus staying handicap that happens at Newbury at the end of November, beginning December, that one. If you look through the history of this race in recent years, the horses that have performed well in that race, that have gone on to this race, have done really, really well. So I want to stick firmly with that form. So the top two, Eldorado Allen and Monbeg Genius, fit that camp. The thing with Eldorado Allen as well, you should get a nice inflated price because people will look at the fact of the weight it's carrying and the age it is, but it's got some great form at the Cheltenham Festival. And Tizzards have previously aimed horses at this race, so I think Eldorado Allen comes out as my number one pick for the race at 16s. Monbeg Genius then second pick. I'm not quite sure what's going to happen with the price of that on the day. I kind of feel like that horse could go single figures, but we'll see. And then we've got a couple of big uns in there. Run Wild Fred. It needs to bounce back, certainly needs to bounce back, but I've been absolutely keen to watch what Danny Gilligan's riding this week in the handicap chasers for Gordon Elliott. He's on Run Wild Fred. The horse previously ran really well in the National Hunt Chase at Cheltenham Festival. It's been just a little bit kind of hit and miss, well, more miss than hit since then. But if that horse can bounce back and they're preparing that horse for the Grand National potentially, at the moment I think he's somewhat ridiculous, like 100 to 1 for the Grand National. The horse runs well here in the Ultima, prepping it for Grand National. Then yeah, that both those odds might look a little bit different, but yeah, it's clearly not been in great form. But I wanted to keep it on side. We'll certainly keep Danny Gilligan on side, and then we're going Lord de Mesnil. Ground Versatile. I used to think that was a really dodgy ground horse, but Ground Versatile. And again, what you've got there is you've got a smaller stable, which will inflate the price of the horse. But the horse has got Cheltenham form. The horse will go well in the ground. And it just looks like, you could read it that it's slightly on the decline at this point, but 40 to 1's a nice enough price. So they're my 4. They're all 75p each ways. Then we get to Champion Hurdle, and again we're sticking with an anti-post selection. Not So Sleepy. Talked a lot about on anti-post before, and that was when Constitution Hill was in, because I'm thinking the race is going to go down 6-7 runners, and paying 3 places was a good bet. Because Constitution Hill's come out, some more horses have stayed in. Iberico Lord's been supplemented, and so therefore you haven't got much difference in price from Not So Sleepy. But you could have got 33s anti-post originally. But outside of State Man, the horse has got the best form in the last 18 months over 2 miles on the jumps. That's it. In terms of, you can look at the age, and you can look at the amount of times it's running the race and where it's finished. But on bare form, that horse to me is the second best horse. You've got Irish Point in there that's progressive, which is going to be the very solid second favourite. But I just feel it's a bit short, to be honest, and I think that's helping the rest of the market. So I wouldn't be wanting Irish Point. I'm not saying it's got no chance, just wouldn't want it, because I think State Man looks day one easy to me is the biggest banker of the day. I mean, I wouldn't be touching it at the prices at 1 to 3, but as in which of the horses is most likely to win a race. If literally I could have £100 on anything and they were all the same price, my money would go on State Man. So outside of that, when you look through, Not So Sleepy, but I also want to have a little bit of an interest on Zarak the Brave, because that's more of a progressive profile. So you've got 2 sort of different ones there. Zarak the Brave progressive, Not So Sleepy, he's clearly peaked, but if he runs to a good enough standard, still could make the frame. So they're £1 each way on those 2 for the Champion Hurdle. Okay, let's try and speed up a little bit. Then we go Mare's Hurdle. Lofty Mouth, not for me. I mean, too short a price, I think. It's all about, yes, it won the Triumph Hurdle, and yes, it looked very impressive last time. I'm just, with a horse that hasn't gone to the distance yet, hasn't got up to 2 mile 4, I just can't be convinced that it should be such a short price favourite. It should be the favourite, but I wouldn't want to put money on it in that respect. So, not going for Lofty Mouth. Astro Diamond, I think, it's just, again, on the little bit of a short side. It's a race that can throw up some prices, and I would much rather look further down the market. So, Love Envoy, Marie's Rock, at the time of doing this video, 3rd and 4th favourite. Love Envoy has been run over 2 miles the last 2 times. It wants 2 mile 4. Step it back up in distance. It ran really well in the race last year, so I think that's a cracking each way price for Love Envoy. And then Marie's Rock, I wasn't going to do any Henderson horses until I've seen for day one. I want to see how Henderson's horses get on a day one, because clearly there's something going round his yard. He hasn't run a horse in like 8-9 days. So Marie's Rock's the only Henderson horse that makes it in there, because it's got a bit of a class about that horse. And so if Love Envoy isn't in the frame, then Marie's might be the one. So we'll go £1 each way on those 2. The Boodles, definitely for me the most difficult of the day, and I didn't want to spread it really, really thin. I had a quite clear choice of Palamon as my number 1. The trainer Nolan has a really good record in the race. The progressive profile of the horse, definitely don't think you've seen everything that horse has got to offer. I think there's definitely movement in the handicap mark. And when you start going through, and you can't, on a race like the Boodles, you can't be doing it on ratings. You've got to go look through form lines and weights and stuff like that. And Palamon's the one that kind of came out to me that actually, price-wise, I would have it more 10s or 12s. So 20s looked good. And then I had some debate about the second one. So last year, I had the winner of the Boodles. I took 4, and they'd all come from the same race that ran in the same race at Naas. Let's try and say that when you've had a few. There was 5 horses in the Boodles last year that ran in a race at Naas. 4 of them are my 4 I backed last year, and 1 of them came out on top. This year, there's only a couple in that Naas race, only a 5-runner thing. Eagle Fang was the one that won it. I'm not keen on the fact that Eagle Fang won the race. I wouldn't really want a horse that's won last time out going into the Boodles. But I still think when I've gone through form lines and I've looked at from a price point of view, I think it's still got nice mark to get to. It hasn't been given an excessive weight for this race, and because it's a small stable, some people will overlook it. So we've got £1 each way singles on those. No singles on the National Hunt Chase. As much as I'm saying the Boodles was the hardest race to read, I did not like the National Hunt Chase as a betting heat. You've got Corbett's Cross and Embassy Gardens, the right two favourites, but for very, very different reasons. Salvador Ziggy, I'm not convinced is going to be as good on softer ground. So if it does stay good to soft, Salvador Ziggy is probably a fine option. If it goes soft by the time they get to that last race, I wouldn't want to be near Salvador Ziggy. And then the others, there's just not much between them. So from a singles point of view, I've left it. I'm only going to go, you'll see when I get to the Win Trixie, I've edged Corbett's Cross in my Win Trixie. But other than that, I've left that race. So most of this stake is going down on the first 6 races. So 5 accumulators. Win Trixie, this is the only win one I've got. So we're going to go with the 130 in the Supreme, Tully Hill, 210 Arkle, Founder 50, and then as I mentioned 530 Corbett's Cross National Hunt Chase, 50p Win Trixie. Then the bet that some folk get excited about, I think it was we've had a lot of unsuccessful bets like this, but I think it was 2 years ago at Cheltenham on the Thursday where we had 4 wins, a non-runner, we're going off the last leg. It was worth a heck of a lot of money. Last leg failed, a lot of people cashed out for £1,000, or that's certainly what people told me, so fair play to anybody. But this is my first attempt of the week, and it is a funny amount just because that was the bit that was left over. So it's a 55p each way 6-fold. So we're going in the Supreme, Tully Hill. In the Arkle, we're going to go with Matata. In the Ultimate, we're going Eldorado Allen. Then we're going to go with the 2 short price odds on favourites, State Man, Lossiemouth. And then we're going to finish off in the Boodles with Palamon. If we manage to get 6 winners, there will be riots on the street. But the point here is if we can get them all framed, that will still be a lovely week. At those sorts of prices, you're talking about that sort of bet. If you can get all those framing, that's around £100. So that would be very, very nice, wouldn't it? So that would start our week off brilliantly. So each day I will be doing a bet of similar ilk to this. Okay, and then we're going to get to more of the traditional channel bets. So the each way Yankees. This is my best 4 each way bets of day one together in a Yankee. 210 Matata, 250 Eldorado Allen, 330 Not So Sleepy, 410 Love Envoy. That's my best 3 in a Yankee. The next best 3 are in the Trixie. 250 Monbeg Genius, 330 Zarak the Brave, 450 Palamon. That is the Trixie. So it's 20p each way Yankee, that's 440, 25p each way Trixie, £2. And finally, in the staking plan, we've got the combination double bet for the day. There'll be one of these each day across the handicaps. So 250, gone with basically these are all the 6 I've got in the singles. So 250 Eldorado Allen, Monbeg Genius, Lord Desmond, Run Wild Fred, going on to the 450 Palamon Eagle Fang. 8 times 25p each way doubles. You'd put them all in your bet slip. There's 8 possible combinations of doubles. It makes it to £4. So as I said, total is 40, 26.50 on the singles, 13.50 on the accumulators is what I've added it up to. In terms of what you do with it, as I said, that's up to you. This is what I'm doing. If you just want to do singles, you want to do accumulators, you want to do some and not others, you make your own choices, all right? It's entirely up to you. It's free will. If you don't want to do any of it, you don't have to do any of it. The channel's free, folks. It's all free. That's what we do on here. Okay, that's the plan. So enjoy the first day of Cheltenham, and I shall be back on Tuesday night to regroup. We'll go through the results of how we got on Tuesday, and I'll give you all the rundown for Wednesday. Thursday's the day, I think, for me. It often is the case, make or break. 2 years ago, it made it. We were having a good week, but it made it. last year I absolutely tanked on that Thursday. So we will see. If we can come out with a small profit on day one, I'll be very, very, very happy, to be honest. Yeah, but a couple of good prices in there. We should be all right. We'll see. I mean, the history is. I mean, in the last couple of years. I'd have to double check. Off the top of my head, I think I've had 3 to 1 winners across the 2 years, and it was 2 on the first year. Third win, Global Citizen, seems to bring in my mind. I think Favwa last year, so we managed to put out 3 to 1 winners. So we can find them sometimes. The key is how many can you find, and can you string them together? If you string them together, then you're in the golden path, if you like. All right. Have a lovely first day at Cheltenham, and I will see you Tuesday night. That's all from me. Cheerio.